Good morning. Yes, it is October, and yes, we are talking about giving and how we are supporting and planning to support our Center for Spiritual Living in 2019. As you heard some people refer to pledging, we call it a giving intention because you let us know how much you're going to give next year, and then your leadership plans appropriately. It's a really good idea. So I want to give you an update. Would you like that? We have received to date 516 giving intention forms, and the good news is that 20% of those forms are from people who did not pledge last year and neither the year before. In other words, they are newly enrolled into supporting our center. It also means that we're still waiting for some 257 cards today, so that we can match the levels that we were at in 2017, because, you know, the fires disrupted everything in 2018, so we want to get back on track. Now, when you pledge to support the Center for Spiritual Living in Santa Rosa, this is the sort of thing that you're getting involved in. Last year, we sent all of our teens to teen camp, Science of Mind teen camp, and not only did we do that, we reimbursed all parents across the nation who sent their children to camp so that their families could feel supported in having their children going to Science of Mind education. Isn't that wonderful? Yeah. Last year, our project Sleep Warm, which is a project that quilts and makes bedding for people who may need it in the cold weather, they expanded their program to include Days for Girls International, which is a wonderful program to empower women and girls worldwide through sustainable menstrual care and health education. Last year, our Souls for Souls outreach program put shoes on hundreds of children in our county. Now, you may not know this, but we started in 2010 with 250 shoes. Then in 2011, we went up to about 360. And then the next year, with 400. And now we're way into the 500s. Listen to this thank you note from a teacher. I taught 2 students in science last year, and I noticed that they were still wearing the same shoes as the last year. Fake fur slippers that they wore even when it was 92 degrees outside. They would come to me for duct tape to tape the already taped soles. Then they were each given a shoe card, and I notice now they no longer wear their fake fur slippers, so thank you very much. And then I got this note from YWCA. I'll just read parts of it. It says, very generous of Souls for Souls, and this letter is to express our sincere appreciation for your donation of gift cards for shoes. Your generosity will greatly benefit the women and children we serve as they find safety and support needed to recover from domestic violence. And it goes on, and then at the bottom it says, please know that we not only consider you to be a friend, but also an ambassador of our good works to other members of the community. Isn't that a wonderful letter? Yes. And then, last year, our Student Spirit Outreach Program supported students in Sonoma County by giving them school supplies in backpacks. And this is a letter from a principal of one of the beneficiary schools. The principal writes, over 75% of our students live in poverty. At the beginning of the year, I see several of our students arrive without having had the enjoyable experience of shopping for new school supplies. So, when I visit the classroom on the first day of school, I let all the students know that if they did not have a chance to do their back-to-school shopping yet, they can come and shop in my office at recess, and those who do leave my office with a smile on their face, a brand new backpack on their back, and school supplies that they have selected, feeling as special as any other child at the beginning of the school year. I wish you could see the difference you make. It would not be possible without your generous donations. So thank you. Isn't that wonderful? Yeah. And right here in our own community, our education ministry made, what's it called? Scholarships. Scholarships available through your generosity for people who may not be able to afford spiritual education but want to nevertheless learn about how their lives are an expression of this one infinite power. We made that possible. And last year, our community partnered with Habitat for Humanity on several build projects in the months following the fires. And last year, our grief and loss spiritual support group met to support people experiencing grief of any kind on every single Sunday of the year without fail. And last year, we helped to support financially several projects of science of mind out in the world, in Shanghai, in the Ukraine, in Peru, in Mexico City, and an online teaching chapter that serves science of mind spiritual education worldwide to the Spanish-speaking community. Now, this is just a fraction of what your Center for Spiritual Living does beyond Sunday celebration services, and we want to continue doing all of that and much, much more next year because, frankly, we cannot imagine Sonoma County without this wonderful Center for Spiritual Living, Santa Rosa. So, we have a big, fat, audacious goal this year, which I've talked about before. We want to receive 800 giving intention forms. As mentioned, we still need 250, some of them coming in today, to match the giving intention numbers from the year 2017. Now, there's a significant detail I want to share with you about all of this, because you like information, don't you? Yes, okay. We've got one more week to go of our giving intention, and the important detail to consider is that at this point, we are about $200,000 below our anticipated budget needs goal for 2019. Now, that could all be made up today in the remaining cards to come. I'm open to that. I'm a religious scientist. Of course I am. And I am also open and willing to ask those who can to consider increasing their weekly gift by, say, $5. I talked to Kevin, and we're going to do that. Our family pledge is going to be increased. We're putting that up. We've upped ours, so up yours. I told myself I wouldn't do that. What I'm doing is I'm asking everyone who loves our center and everyone who attends service, I'm asking you to make a commitment to financially support the center if it feeds you spiritually by making a public commitment on a little piece of paper and turning it in so we can count on you. And if you've already done that, thank you very much. And if you're planning to do it today, thank you very much. Now, how much should a person pledge? Well, that's individual, and I bring it up because I was poking around on the internet looking at other churches in Sonoma County. What do they say about their pledge program? And I read this. I think it's hilarious. Well, in a good way. It says, a helpful way to decide what to contribute to your church is to look at the other things in your life that you already spend money on and ask yourself, does my contribution to my church match the value I receive from it in comparison to the other things I spend money on? And then they give a really interesting example. It says, for example, a $5 daily espresso drink adds up to $1,825 a year. Is your church worth it? Whoa. Wow, I'm just saying, that's not on our website, that's somewhere else. And at the end of November, I'll give you a report on our numbers and where we are, because you like information. We just need time to add it all up and get it straight. And today, what I want to do is give you a preview of our program for 2019 to see what we're going to be up to. Our program for 2019 is based on the social justice principles from the Riverside Church on the East Coast, and we have taken these Christian principles and matched them to science of mind core values, and that's what the posters are all about out in the social hall. So here's what we're going to be doing. In January, we're going to start with our own science of mind. I learn and embody science of mind. In February, we're going to be truthful in facts and motives as we study integrity. In March, we're going to seek the common good as we celebrate oneness. In April, we are going to celebrate diversity and promote inclusion in our thinking and in our own life. In May, we are going to talk about compassion, in particular through the filter of talking about poverty in our world. In June, we are going to talk about the vulnerable and how we can be stewards of the vulnerable. And then in July, we're going to talk about creativity. In particular, we're going to talk about how in our thinking and our choices, we can advocate for freedom of thought. And then in August, we are going to celebrate and respect other people and other nations. September, we're going to be talking about the resources we've been entrusted with and how to love our planet and planets as good stewards. October, we're going to celebrate unity and cherish the human family in every form that it shows up in. November, we're going to be talking about standing for spiritually motivated moral leadership. Whoa, that's going to be fun. And then in December, we're going to celebrate the holy days. We'll learn about Kwanzaa, we'll learn about Christmas, we'll learn about Rohatsu, we'll learn about Hanukkah, and we'll learn about the solstice. And by the way, these are the posters outside, and there are also the images on our calendar that you can get from Stepping Stone's bookstore, so you can stay on the same page with your community. And another feature, on the first Sunday of every month when you come to service, we'll give you a business card size replica of the posters that you can take that home and be reminded all month of what's going on at your center. Now, these social justice principles reminded me of an invitation that you received yesterday from Rabbi George Gittleman. He has invited us to join him and his community for an interfaith solidarity service at 7 p.m. at Congregation Shomrei Torah, this Thursday, November 1, 7 p.m., and that synagogue is located on 2600 Bennett Valley Road. So I'm going to be there. Are you going to be there? Who's going to be there? You come and be there with me. Rabbi George invited us for prayer and fellowship in solidarity with the Jewish community in Pittsburgh and people of faith everywhere. And his message is, together we will mourn the dead, comfort each other, and send a message of reassurance and hope. America is better than this. We do not have to live in fear. We can make a difference as people of faith. Now, you know, this synagogue shooting, it reminded me of the schoolhouse shooting in the Amish community. Do you remember, in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania? And after that schoolhouse shooting, I don't think anyone would have faulted the parents of the slain children if they had nothing to give in the wake of losing their children. I'm imagining that they probably wanted comfort. And do you know that was the first thing that they gave? They gave comfort, and they gave it to the family of the gunman. What a lesson in generosity and in faith Because, when we're talking about giving, sometimes I hear from people, well, I'm not in a position to give because I don't have. I will be more understanding when I'm accepted. I'll be able to give more when my needs are met, or I'll be in a position to express kindness or generosity when that is flowing towards me. And yet, what I'm learning, what I understand now is that it's not like that. That I'm understanding that giving is the key that unlocks the beauty and the meaning and the value of life. And I have learned here at the Center for Spiritual Living never to think of myself as someone who has nothing to give. Whether that is a thank you card, or a smile, or a kind word, or a compliment, or a prayer, or a helping hand, I will always have something to give. Whether it is flowers that grow in my backyard, or found change in my couch, or a cleaned up garage item that must be recirculated, or clothing in my closet that I know I will never wear again that wants to be worn by someone, or a photograph of a friend that I took that I cherish, I'll never be someone who has nothing to give. Or like this interfaith solidarity meeting on Thursday at Shomrei Torah for the Jewish community in Pittsburgh. I can give my presence and my solidarity by showing up, especially if solidarity and presence is what I value in my life. I can try giving exactly what is important to me, and that's how you set the law of circulation in motion. Now, in Living the Science of Mind, one of our reading assignments for the past days was on page 346, and he's talking about a scientific law and using it as a comparison for our spiritual lives. So he says one of the laws of radiation, a scientific law, says that the absorbing power of a substance is equal to its emitting power, which means that the things that absorb the most must be the ones that emit the most. Now he relates it to us. He says, or to state the proposition in another way, we can take in only what we give out. And I want to focus on that phrase. We can take in only what we give out, because I'm asking myself, in this day and age, in this world, how is this working in my life? And do you know, the closer I look into it, the more I see it. I see it. Sometimes I want to receive far more than I want to give out. I see it. And if the law of radiation has anything to teach me, is that I must radiate, I must give out that which I wish to absorb and receive. 16 years ago, I found myself voted in as the president of a clergy organization. I don't know how that happened. Because I wasn't ready. I didn't know what I was doing, And it was right at this time of the year, and the clergy organization was getting ready for the holiday gift exchange. You know how that goes? Everybody brings a present, and then everybody gets a present, So as the president of the board, I was asked, Edward, you get to set the price range for the gift. What's the price range? I didn't know, but I remembered something I had heard in a class at the Center for Spiritual Living, and I said, okay, bring a gift according to your consciousness of receiving. And that's how I was responded to. What? Excuse me? So I tried to explain it. I said, bring a gift according to your consciousness of receiving. In other words, bring something that matches that which you would like to receive. Excuse me? And they got all upset. See, I was young and foolish. I had no idea this would upset people so much. My answer threw everyone into a spin. They started to say, no, really, Edward, how much? And I said, I don't know, because $5 could be a lot for one person and nothing for another person. But you're going to make people feel uncomfortable. I said, why? Why can't a person bring something precious and meaningful? I mean, I'm just making this up. I have to figure it out myself too. Now I have to decide, what am I going to bring to the gift exchange? Oh, and it worked me, What was I going to bring to give away that matched the level of what I wanted to receive? It turned out that the gift that I selected had nothing to do with dollars value, and it had everything to do with personal value. I gave something that I cherished, something that I thought I would never part with. Now, it doesn't matter what I gave. It matters that it was meaningful to me to let it go. And the moment I gave it, it was as if somebody had opened a window in a stuffy room and fresh air poured into my life and set me free. And it made me remember something a very wise person once said, that which you cannot give away, you do not possess. It possesses you. Oh, this has been a very powerful lesson for me because I see it. I see that sometimes I want to be the exception to the law of radiation. I want to be the exception to the law of circulation. Like when I want understanding, but I want you to start. I want peace, but I'll bully you into being peaceful first. I want consideration just on my terms. I see it. When I look very closely into my life, I see that sometimes the things that I want the most, I do not give. And when I do not radiate, how will I absorb? Now, Eric Butterworth, who is the author of the book that Nancy quoted from, he is the author of Spiritual Economics, and what a book. What a terrific book. In it, he says, a committed giver is an incurably happy person. He's right. He says a committed giver is a secure person, a satisfied person. He's right. It has nothing to do with how much a person gives, and everything to do with the why and the how of giving. Oh, if you want to learn how to live, then learn how to give and start practicing it immediately. And if you want to learn how to live magnificently, then find the area where you are not giving and start there. Because it's different for each person. For some people, they have no problem giving their time. Some people have no problem giving their skill. Some people find it very easy to share praises and give support and encouragement. Other people know how to give recognition. Some people know how to give comfort. Some people know how to give wealth. And everyone has an area where they could be giving more. And it's my suspicion that that is the very space where they desire to expand and grow. I suspect that. My message today is very simple. It's this. There is no more powerful spiritual tool that I know about that has rewarded me more, that has brought more satisfaction and joy and meaning to my life, that has warmed my heart and connected me to this life than generosity. Plain, straightforward, honest, free-flowing, simple giving. It is the secret to a happy life. I invite you to take a breath in with me and exhale into a moment of prayer as we each in our own way acknowledge the one source from which we come. That source which is sometimes called the infinite self-givingness of life to itself. What a beautiful title. I mean that which creates from itself, by itself, through itself, and gives itself endlessly to its creation. That's us. And today, through this prayer, I am re-identifying myself as a point of activity within the circulation of Spirit's good. And I'm allowing myself to be conscious that this is my natural state. I love to share. I thrive when I give. I open my heart, and in so doing, I place myself in the flow of circulation to receive also. I rejoice in this, and the good that is possible from it starts to flood into my mind. I realize with this awareness, I can take a stand in the community of beings. I can be there for others to advocate them. I can show up in ways that lift up the state of the world, and I rejoice in it. And I release this word of prayer into the activity of the law, and together we say, and so it is. Once more, breath in, followed by sigh.